All right, well, hello, and welcome to another episode of the Rooted Project podcast. It's me, Sai, and it has been a while since I've made one of these. It's my fault, but it's okay, because we're here now. I had some finals and stuff coming up a couple weeks ago. Life was pretty busy. And then also, we haven't even had youth group for the last 3 weeks, I think it's been. So it's been a while. I really miss you guys. That's genuine. I think about all of you a lot. Can't wait to get back together. Lord willing, this week we should be back together because there shouldn't be any weather or any other things getting in our way. Praying that way anyway. I do pray for you guys all the time. I've got a list in my prayer journal, and I've got you all listed out. And I just want you to know that I care about all of you, and I've been thinking about you a lot. So I can't wait to be with you again. Let's see. What else was I supposed to say? Tri-State Bible Camp for winter weekend is now not winter weekend. It is now just winter Saturday. Winter youth retreat, I think is what we're calling it. But it'll be just Saturday, and the price is going to be $50 instead of $75, I believe. So I wanted to get that out quickly so that we could get everybody registered. And I believe the number that it is limited to is 45 people total. So if you want to go, let me know as soon as possible so I can get us all registered. Or, well, you can register yourself, but let me know and get registered quickly. I believe you can register online, and that'll probably be the easiest way to do it. And then I will be bringing the group from church to camp. So just let me know so we can get a number, know how many vans we need, and all that kind of stuff. Let's see, any other things? Oh, yes, okay. So if you have the Bible app on your phone by YouVersion, if you can go on there, not right now, obviously, whatever you're doing, you find me. We are going to be doing a Bible reading plan together this year. Let's see. What's it called? Let me look it up. I should have had it pulled up before I started talking, but I believe it is called the Outreach New Testament. I'll have to check again for sure, and I'll let you know. The Outreach New Testament plan, and I believe it'll take us through the New Testament 2 times, maybe even a 3rd time. And that's kind of, if you don't have a reading plan already, then we're going to go ahead and start that. So we can all kind of be on the same page in our daily reading and our devotion, stuff like that. I think that'll be very cool and helpful. So if you don't have a plan, you can look that up and you can add me as a friend, and then we can, like all our notes and stuff like that, we can see, and highlights and all that kind of stuff. So that'll be fun. Today is going to be a little bit of a shorter episode just because we've not been together for very long. But I do have we have had a few lessons that did not get episodes recorded from. Excuse me while I drink a cup of coffee. Take a sip. I'm not drinking a whole cup of coffee in a sip. Anyway. Sorry about that. Thank you. But we have missed a few lessons that haven't been recorded here. So I just wanted to give kind of an overview of what those lessons were talking about. We talked about the parental picture of love and evangelism. We talked about that was 1 Thessalonians 2, 7 through 12. And then, so the rest, we're basically at the end of chapter 3. We're going to be looking at verses 11 through 13, which is the end of chapter 3 this upcoming week. We were supposed to look at it this week, but snow got in the way. That's a great picture of what love looks like as Christians. And I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I'm super excited for this coming Sunday. But before that, we've talked about the rest of chapter 2 and then most of chapter 3. The end of chapter 2, verses 13 through 16, really talks about how the church was founded. Again, Paul spends a lot of this first part of the book more or less explaining what has happened. He's explaining what's been done. He's kind of laying the foundation of the groundwork, explaining, what God has done in their lives, in the lives of the Thessalonian believers, before he gets into anything about do. We haven't seen one command or anything that he wants them to do yet. So far, he has just been talking about what's been done. And I shared a graphic in youth group a couple weeks ago. I'll see if I can put it in the video. Of kind of all of the messages and all of the passages about what has been done so far by God, and then also the apostles' ministry. So 13 through 16 of chapter 2 has that idea, has continues with that idea of the fact that they were founded in the Word of God, that the apostles preached the Word of God, and that they were founded in the Word of God, and that's how the Thessalonian church was started, was through the Word of God. And then at the end of the very end of chapter 2, 17 through 20, we see that discipleship and the Christian walk with our believers isn't always going to be physical. Obviously, there's always going to be a longing for it to be physical, and that's our ultimate desire, is to be together. But as we've seen with Corona and stuff like that, we're not always going to be together. And Paul, as good as anybody, understands that, because his big thing is wanting to come back to them and missing them and loving them and wanting to see them and help them grow. And that's what he talks about at the end of 17 through 20. He talks about the fact that it's not physical, but he's there with them in heart. And he talks about persevering and the purpose of discipleship, which is, or the purpose, not the purpose as in the goal, but the reason why you disciple, and why you see people saved and you go out witness, and it's the joy that they'll see when the Thessalonians are there when Christ returns. So that's kind of the picture we see at the end of chapter 2, is explaining what's been done and explaining the reason why he wants to come back and the reason why he's so thankful for them. And it's because the exact words were, "For ye are our glory and joy." Paul and the other apostles found great glory and joy in the Thessalonian believers because of their faith. And then we get to chapter 3. Chapter 3 depicts the story of Paul was in Athens, and he sends Timothy to go to the Thessalonian believers and to more or less check up on them, I guess would be a good way to say it, to talk about their faith. And so we saw that we saw the Thessalonians as a faithful church. And then we saw a couple of points about just faith in the believers' lives. We saw that for our faith to cause us to stand fast, it must be established, because so in verses 1 and 2, it talks about the fact that they had been established in the faith, and that they were, by Timothy, he had come there to establish them in the faith, and that they had continued to walk in what the apostles had taught them before they left. And then we also see that our faith is what causes us to stand fast in the face of persecutions, which Paul and the other apostles had warned were coming. Paul didn't come to Thessalonians and lead them to Christ and then say, okay, everything's going to be peachy. But no, he warned them that all of the troubles they were going to be facing were going to come. And so our faith is what causes us to stand fast. It's not our gritting our teeth and being big and strong Christians. It's simply having faith in God that allows us to stand fast in the face of persecutions. And then the last thing we see is that our faith can encourage other people. We saw that in verses 7 through 10, because Paul is saying your ability to stand fast in the face of all this persecution encouraged us and comforted us, being Paul and the apostles. So that's a very quick, very probably poorly done catch-up of the last end of chapter 2, beginning of chapter 3, as we're getting ready to look at what a Christian's love truly looks like at the end of chapter 3. And this is where Paul really starts to get into some of the do's, you could say. But all of his do's are either followed up or led up to by what God has done. And that's a picture of what we've seen a lot throughout a lot of this book in 1 Thessalonians. And I think that's probably one of the most encouraging things that I learned in 2020 is the fact that all of the do's in our Christian life all lead out of what Christ has done for me. And so I think that when we understand that we're not doing because of our own strength, but instead we're doing because we've had things done for us, then our Christian lives will change and we'll experience a lot more freedom in serving God. But I digress because I don't want to get into next week's lesson because I'm super excited about it. So I am praying for all of you, and I hope that you are all doing well, and we are excited to see you this coming week. I'm excited for what God has in store for 2021, and I just hope that God will be able to teach us something this year that we will be able to go out and use to bring other people to Him. See you later.